Good morning, boys and girls, students of Buddhist Sunday School and Dhamma classes, parents, grandparents, and teachers of Buddhist Sunday School and Dhamma classes. May you all be well, happy, and peaceful. We are going to have another interesting moral story that teaches very important life lessons so that you can live more peacefully and wisely. Now, this story is entitled The Wise Antelope and the Hunter, a moral story. The texts are in English and Malay, but the audio narration together with the explanation will be in English. Now, we have the PowerPoint with all the slides and pictures to tell you this story before we discuss the life lessons or moral lessons or Dhamma teachings at the end of the story presentation. So that is the presentation for today. Now, as usual, we will launch the PowerPoint to help you to be more interested, to see the pictures as well as to follow the story. So now let us launch the PowerPoint. We are going to start from the beginning. Here you see the cover slide. And the pictures have been taken from, AI in artificial intelligence. Nowadays, the computer programmer can do very interesting things like generating pictures. Now, let us look again at the title, The Wise Antelope. Now, of course, here you can see the picture of the antelope. Now, antelope is actually of the same family as the deer, right? The deer, rusa, or you have heard stories of the sankancil. So you can, if you wish, you can just talk about the deer. It's the antelope. It can run very, very fast. It's of the same family as the deer. So, and then of course, the other character in the story is the hunter, uh, the male hunter. And during those days, of course, these hunters go to hunt animals in the forest or jungle, not using guns, but using weapons like the spears and then the bow and arrow and knives and so on, you see, right? Whereas today, of course, you find hunters go and kill or hunt for the animals using the guns usually. So let us now go on to the start of the story. And that is like number 2. Once upon a time, there was an antelope who lived in the deep forest. He ate the fruits that fell from the trees. There was one tree that had become his favorite. Now, so let us go back to ancient times. Long time ago, there was this antelope. You could see the picture there, antelope. And this antelope was living deep inside the forest, hidden away from human beings in the villages or in the towns. And these antelopes would feed on fruits. In the jungle also, you have, fruit trees, wild fruits, and so on. And the fruits would fall from the trees when they are ripe, right? You can't expect the antelope to climb up the tree to eat. So you wait for the fruits to fall. As you can see the picture here, the fruits falling. Of course, this is just to show you an apple tree, but it could be other trees bearing different fruits. So the fruits after falling, all right, on the ground, then the antelope could feed on them. Now, in the forest, there was this tree that the antelope liked the best. His favorite tree would always come here regularly. But in that area, there was a hunter. That means probably the hunter from a village that was not far from the forest where the antelope lived. And the hunter, they would go to hunt for the animals, capture them, and then kill them, sell the meat, or eat. They would also cook and eat the you can say deer meat lah. In restaurant now also, people would order for deer meat, isn't it? Right. So how would the hunter trap the deer? Actually, he would put some fruits as bait under the tree, right? Under the tree, he would put. Of course, there might be some fruits there, but he might put more under the tree. But he would put then after you see how you could trap. Now let us go on to slide number 3. So how did he put the bait right? You put some fruits actually on top of a net, right? So this net would be under or at the base of the tree, and we put some fruits. And then he would climb up the tree, the hunter, and would hide in the branches above. Of course, the leaves of the tree would partially hide him. And then the net connected to a rope. So he would be holding on to the rope tied to the net, right? This one actually just give you an idea that once, he once he, took hold of the rope and they could tighten the rope and then could sort of close up the net, and then the animal will be trapped inside something like this, an idea, right? So the rope would lead to him and then to the net so when the animal came to eat the fruits, he will be stepping on top of the net, and then the hunter would use the rope to tighten the noose to trap and catch him. Do something like this, right? Now, early one morning, the antelope came to his favorite tree. He was searching for fruits to eat. Probably might not come every day, maybe once in 2 days and so on. He did not see the hunter there who was hiding on top of the tree because he was covered a bit by the leaves. Because the antelope was just looking forward and he could see at the distance the fruits, the fruits under the tree. So he did not know at first, but he was a very smart antelope. The hunter was on top, getting ready with his nose trap, the rope there to pull already. You can see if you were to pull, then the animal will be trapped inside the net. So that is this situation to help you to understand that is this antelope. Right. Now let us go on to slide number 4. Now, of course, the antelope feeding on fruits was hungry. That's how he came to search for the fruits. So even though he was hungry, the antelope was very careful. Right? He was not, a careless, reckless type of animal. No, he was very careful because, in the forest, there will be other big animals. If it's a jungle, you could have the tigers also, or the panthers, or other bigger animals that would catch the antelope to eat, right? So he would always be very careful to look around, right? Any danger or not. And the antelopes, like the deer, also could run quite fast, right? So he was very careful. He did not one shot, or run, he would not one shot run to the tree there to then take, and then he would step on the strap net, and then he would be caught, isn't it? He was very careful. He was on the lookout for any possible danger. So he always, like moving the head to see the round. And then also he was very observant and mindful. He did see the delicious looking ripe fruits. Right? So he saw at the distance, you can see here, at the distance he could see the delicious fruits at the foot of his favorite tree. But he did not just rush there recklessly, no. He started to think first. Then he was wondering, oh, today, so many fruits. Why? Why is it that no animal had yet eaten any? He more or less would know, like, one morning how many fruits you get, the ripened fruits falling down. So he said, wow, more than the usual amount. And also, why is it that no animals have eaten some already? So he was suspicious already. So he was afraid something was wrong. He sensed that something was wrong. So the hunter on top of the tree there, at the distance, the hunter could see the antelope approaching from the distance already. Right? It was not under the tree yet. If under the tree, you would step onto the net, then that's it. Then he will be trapped. So you could see at the distance that the antelope was like very cautious, did not just rush or move towards the tree yet. It was a very interesting thing, isn't it? So now let's see whether the antelope could escape or not. So let us now go on to slide number 5. So this hunter on top of the tree, actually the picture doesn't show that clearly, very difficult to get the picture, that he was still on top of the tree. He saw that the antelope stopping, did not come towards the tree. And he was very, very careful. He saw that he took great care. So this hunter, very impatient, very anxious to capture the deer or the antelope. So the hunter was afraid that he would not be able to trap the antelope. He was afraid that the antelope would not come to the foot of the tree and would run away. So he did something foolish because he was, very anxious and impatient. So you know what he did? He was at the top of the tree, right? So the picture showed that he came down and plucked the fruits, but actually he was still on top of the tree. So he began to pluck some of the fruits from the tree and started to throw in the direction of the antelope. Of course, when fruits fall down from the tree, they will fall vertically, isn't it, downwards. While he started to use the fruits to throw in the direction of the antelope, right? Hoping to lure, trying to, attract the antelope to come nearer and nearer and go into the net, and then you will be trapped. But this was a pretty smart antelope. He was very, very smart. He did notice that the fruits were being thrown at him from a distance, you see, right? So he did not just, he did not just go forward, take the fruits and then go nearer and nearer and then he will be trapped. No, he was smart. He started to think. That's very important, isn't it? To have smart thinking. So this picture actually, just to give you an idea of fruits falling, and then the antelope was too near here already actually. So it's not very 100% accurate lah, right? But anyway, it will give you an idea of antelope and the hunter. Now let us go on to the next slide, which is slide number 6 now. So the antelope started to think, He knew that fruits only fall straight down when they fall from trees, isn't it? I mean, you just think and see. When the fruits fall from the trees, the fruits will not fly to a distance. Usually they will just fall directly down. Even if there is a wind, the fruits will be maybe quite heavy, not so easy unless there's a big wind. Then it will blow the fruits a little distance from the food. But most cases will be just falling down at the foot of the tree. So he said, hey, these fruits are coming, like being thrown, So he said it's not very, very normal. So since these fruits were flying towards him, he already knew there was danger ahead. There was danger. So from that distance, he came a bit nearer, but still not at the foot of the tree yet. So he examined, he looked very carefully around the tree, and then he looked upwards to the tree, even though the hunter was hiding in the branches, surrounded by some leaves. He could see there was a man up on the tree, and he was the man that was who was throwing the fruits, not naturally, coming down from the tree. He was being thrown. But of course, probably the man was smart, he would pick those more ripe type of fruits to throw, right? So then he got an idea, So he was very, very smart. He went nearer, but still not at the net yet. He looked carefully. He also probably would have noticed, other than the hunter, he would have noticed the net, isn't it? Right? At the base. So he was very, very smart. Even though he was very hungry, he would not just like, many foolish animals or even foolish people. There are people who are not wise, but foolish, reckless, isn't it? So he came nearer. He wanted the hunter to hear what he was speaking. Of course, this is a story, like Aesop's fable. So animals could talk. Animals could talk. So he went nearer and then he spoke loudly. He spoke in the direction of the tree. He wanted to, make the man realize certain things. So that he was talking to the tree. He was talking to the tree. Of course, assuming that the tree could understand him. It's a story. So, very, very interesting now. What would happen? What did the antelope say to the tree? And the man up on the tree was getting very kanjiong, anxious. I say, come nearer lah, come into the region of the net lah. There are fruits there. He was thinking like that lah, because he wanted to trap and capture the antelope. So he was just having that thought, this. But anyway, he did hear what the antelope said to the tree. Now let us see what happens. This was what the antelope say, addressed to the tree. But he actually wanted the man to hear. What did he say? He said, oh, my dear fruit tree, you used to give me fruits by letting them fall straight down to the ground. That's the way things are, isn't it? The ripe fruits will naturally just fall down vertically at the base, right? But now, throwing them towards me, you do not act at all like a tree. He was telling the tree, you are not behaving like a tree, like a normal tree. You must have changed your habits. But actually, he knew it was the hunter who was throwing down the fruits. So he said, since you have changed your habits, I too will change mine. That's what he said. So he was telling the tree that the tree was not behaving like a normal tree. The tree had changed the habits. Of course, that's what he wanted the man to hear. So he said, now also I will change my habit. I used to come to get fruits at the base or at the foot of the tree, of the tree. So now I won't want to get the fruits from here already. I will get my fruits from a different tree from now on. From a tree that still acts like a tree. He was trying to tell the tree. Actually, he wanted the hunter to hear the message, isn't he? He said, I want a tree that is quite normal, natural, and not to throw fruits like this, like what you have done. Very smart. You're still a certain distance from the tree. But this actually, the picture shows a bit too close to the tree already, right? Because there will be a net there underneath. But anyway, that's the picture. Quite difficult to get the relevant pictures. I generated using the AI to describe everything, but it was not easy. So that was the closest I could get at the pictures. So there was actually a net. So we could picture the antelope was a bit further away, right? But still near enough for the tree to hear and the hunter to hear what he was saying. But definitely away from the net, right? I was not stepping on the net. It was a little further away. So this one a bit not so accurate. Anyway, you understand the story. That's the important thing. So now, we have to move on to the next slide, which is slide number 8 now. This one actually are different frames of the picture, so they show slightly different animals. So it doesn't matter. It's just to get you the idea that you have an antelope, right? You have the antelope, you have a fruit tree. And of course, right on top was the hunter not shown in the picture. And the hunter was getting a bit angry already, anxious. You would say also greedy. So the mindset was not good. So the hunter then only realized his mistake, this antelope so smart. I made the mistake of throwing the fruits, and he knew already that a tree would not, so something dangerous already. So he knew. So he realized his first mistake now. And he saw that the antelope had outsmarted him. So the antelope was smarter than him, right? He was wise, very mindful, very careful, heedful. Wow, he was very, very angry, right? He was very, very angry because he was impatient. So I just again showed, again, not very accurate. Actually, he was still on top of the tree, right? He was still on top of the tree. So he's not on the ground yet. So you know what happened? Because he got very angry, this angered him. The sight of the clever deer, the more smart than him, made him even more angry, And he started to yell out, yell out. So, he made the second mistake now. So he were to yell out, then the antelope would know there was a man shouting from the top of the tree. But anyway, he forgot all those stupid things that he did because of his poor mindset, bad mindset, right? So this angered the hunter and he yelled out, "You may escape me this time, you clever antelope, but I'll get you next time for sure." Wow, he scolded the antelope. He was angry that the deer outsmarted him. Right? The deer didn't want to come near it. He will be a flop already. And of course, he knew that he would to come down. All right, then the deer would just run away and so on. All right, so he was so angry that on top of the hill also, on top of the tree, that he did not use his bow and arrow to shoot. It will be a bit difficult also at the tree, So he normally will maybe that's why they use a trap they use a net as a trap, And then what he said, and I will kill you with my knife. And I will kill you with my knife. And then, this antelope realized that by getting so angry, he made the second mistake. The first mistake was to throw the fruits. Trees don't throw fruits. So he had given himself away by shouting, right? Shouting. So he given himself away. So the antelope actually could think very smartly and wisely. So you could see now it will not be possible for the hunter to trap the antelope using the net at the base of the tree. So then let us see the next slide, which is slide number 9. What happened actually? Actually, all these pictures were generated by the AI, not actually the face of a real person. Right? So it's just like a cartoon image or something like that. But you know, the AI nowadays, artificial intelligence is so very smart, right? That you could ask them to ask the program, actually it's a programmer, to depict how to come out with certain pictures and you choose. So very helpful actually. AI, is artificial intelligence. Like now you have heard of robots. Robots are so smart, can act as waiters also, and then there were some robots that could even perform some simple surgery, operate on people, the sort of things. So very, very fantastic. But of course, people can abuse the AI, can abuse the robots, make the robots go and kill people, and then use the AI to tell them how to make bombs and all those. So actually, it depends on man. The man is wise not to, abuse the available facility, the AI, just as nuclear energy also, isn't it? People use the idea, the know-how to make bombs, whereas actually you could use the energy to help you to work in the factories, to supply heat, light, and so on, isn't it? So it depends finally on man. Just like a knife, you abuse a knife to go and kill the person, that is bad, but it's nothing to do with the knife. The knife is just a instrument which can be very useful to cut your vegetables and meat and so on. So now let us now go on to the next number 9. So then this time, since the hunter has spoken already, right? So the antelope now spoke in the direction of the tree again, but this time he was speaking to the hunter. Since the hunter had yelled at him already, had shouted, isn't it? So he replied, again, the picture is not very accurate in the sense that the hunter and the deer were not that close to each other, right? It was a distance. But the deer was talking to the hunter. That this idea only. Actual case, deer will be a certain distance, not stepping on the net. That is important thing. Right? So this picture just give you some idea only, not really accurate. Then, what did the deer say to the hunter? You hunter, stop acting like a tree, hiding in the branches and throwing fruits unnaturally. You see, you want to behave like a tree, getting the fruits down, not vertically, but throwing the fruits to let me think that actually it was the tree that threw the fruits to tell me that a lot of fruits nearby to come near. But you are a foolish hunter. You are foolish hunter. You make mistakes. So now he replied, you foolish humans, live by killing animals. Now the deer could give some dharma talks to to the hunter. He said, you foolish humans, you live by killing animals. Killing is a big wrongful action. Imagine the deer could tell the man, right, that killing another being, in this case here, an animal, right? Because as a hunter, you'll be killing animals, isn't it? Apart from hunting deer, hunters also would hunt for wild boars, and other smaller animals, squirrels, and so on. All sorts of animals they would hunt and kill. And of course, from the Buddhist point of view, you find that this is unwholesome because it involves killing. We'll discuss this, at the end of the presentation. So he was giving the man some advice also later on, and we were telling him that you foolish humans live by killing animals. He was actually trying to tell the hunter that your livelihood as a hunter involves killing animals. That is not a good way to live, isn't it? Because you are killing other beings. What about you? If we were to kill you, so you wouldn't like. Of course, this one my addition. The story just as written in the words. And then he emphasized this very important point for us to know. Killing is a big wrongful action. It's an unwholesome deed that generates bad karma, right? So, the deer very smart, isn't it? Very wise also, like Sangkanchil like that. So, this man got to listen what to do, right? He was stunned also, that he was outsmarted by the deer. Now let us go on to slide number 10. Then he further explained to him, he said, you do not, the deer or the antelope, further explain to the hunter, you do not understand that killing the innocent, means the innocent sentient beings, like in this case, the innocent animals, right? Or it could be innocent people also. But today you see there are people who kill other people for their money lah, or to have their wives or to have their house, all sorts of things, or to rob the banks and so on. Innocent people die. You do not understand that killing the innocent brings harm also to you, both in this life and in future lives. I will explain this more when it comes to the end of the presentation. So he was telling this hunter, the deer was telling this hunter, that if you to kill another being, whether animals or human beings, this action is a wrong action, a wrong deed. It will bring you harm. It will bring you suffering, pain to you while you are having this life, as well as in future lives when you die and get reborn. And then the deer could give some Dharma points. When you die, you will be reborn in a woeful realm. Woeful means very full of suffering, a very painful state, suffering, sorrowful state. That's the meaning you'll be reborn. Then he even told the hunter, if you are killer, innocent lives intentionally, not accidentally kill or to defend yourself. You just want to hunt, and then some people hunt as hobbies, imagine. So some would say, oh, he has to earn a living, but is that a good way to earn a living? When you cause suffering to others, you can do so many other jobs, isn't it? So that is the important message. So the deer or the antelope told this hunter that killing is a very, very great wrong, a great wrongful or unwholesome action that will cause suffering to the person who killed, that will cause suffering to him in this life as well as in future lives. And in future lives, the deer could tell the hunter, you will be reborn as an animal. No, of course, he was trying to tell also that now I'm animal because of the previous lives I had done something wrong because of ignorance. But now I'm telling you, see, of course, it's not being an animal. Even the deer, he was wise, careful, and then he wouldn't harm any other except to eat fruits. He wouldn't harm other creatures, but because of the past lives that he was born today as a deer, you see. So you can be born as an animal, and that would be terrible. Just like you hunting the animals are so afraid, isn't it? Uh, or you can be reborn even in the worst, worst state, and that is hell. So in the hell, there is so much suffering and pain. People I mean, the hell beings torture you lah, or you're being burned lah, or many, many types of suffering, dukkha lah in hell. I think all religions talk about hell, isn't it? Neraka. So, and of course, I just showed this picture, and then to emphasize this very important point, that killing is an evil deed, is a wrong action, unwholesome action, and there will be consequences. That means the results of your wrong action, that would be dukkha coming to you. You will experience the suffering. In fact, later on in life, they will feel guilty, regret. And of course, the rebirth I mentioned just now, right? So the results will be very painful uh, for the person who kill other animals or human beings, even worse, right? So actually, this one, shows an interesting picture that in the ancient days, they would not use the gun and so on, right? They would, use bow and arrow, and then once the animal, like a deer or any other wild boar or what, gets, hit by the arrow, running, so you hit by the arrow, then you find you will fall because of the pain. You won't die one shot maybe. Then they will come near that animal that has been hit, and the hunters will use their spears, will use their knives, or would use a big piece of wood to hammer, terrible, until the animal dies. So this sort of action is not condone. We know that this is wrong action to kill an innocent one. Imagine then what will happen to the babies. You can say the children of this animal that gets killed. It's terrible, isn't it? So then you say that this sort of action can lead into one. In the worst state will be to be in hell, just as this. This one is, of course, supposed to be a person, but then he could be so ugly looking already, so scared. I'm in hell, suffering. Right. So that is the picture that shows this. So that is number 10, the slide number 10. I hope you understand this. And now let me go on to number 11 now. Now, you know the deer spoke quite a lot, right? To teach the hunter. It is clear that we antelopes are far wiser than you. He was quite proud of himself, that he did not kill other people, right? And he said that we antelopes are mindful and heedful, just like him, right? But actually, there are other some animals that are very, very stupid also. Of course, there are animals that are very, very smart, like the dolphins, for example. And domestic animals like the dogs can be quite smart. In fact, the dogs help in so many ways. You have police dogs that can even smell out the drugs, right? And then also could lead them to the victims underneath the rubble in the earthquake, right? And in the cold countries, when there was avalanche, the snow, all falling down, everything, burying some uh, human beings, and the dogs will go and search for them. So you find so many good things, even intelligent animals like dogs. So there are animals that are, having higher intelligence. There are some not so intelligent, do stupid things, and then some very, very fierce, always fighting. Then in the jungle, you have those terrible, very ferocious animals who fight and hunt for the smaller animals like the tigers, for example, or the panthers and so on, right? And then this was what I added, right? So then the antelope gave the hunter this proverb, fools rush in where angels fear to tread. It means that when there is a dangerous thing ahead, and if you are an angel, you are smart, right? And you think carefully, you will not rush into that place of danger. But who are the ones who rush in? Like the fools, people who don't think and they are not mindful. not careful and heedful, and they rush in. Oh, I say, wow, there's free makan. No, there's a lot of cheap sale. But then, something can happen. Just as you have heard of cases, right? Certain events or what, wow, people rush, maybe got cheap sale, got food, or whatever, and this has actually happened. Then what will happen? Accidents will happen. People will fall and stampede. Then other people will step over certain people, young ones, for example, or the children who have fallen and step until you are step on until you die. Stampede. I think you have heard of this also. This stampede happens in holy places. Even people rush forward to go and pray everything. That is foolish. Your rushing is dangerous. Right? Like for example, so many rush, across a bridge, a wooden bridge, to reach that place for certain things. Last time also happened during a Kuan Yin festival. The rush over the wooden platform or whatever, and the thing collapsed, and some were hurt and some died. You see. So this problem is very important. Who's rush in where angels fear to tread? Angels, which means they are higher beings, they can think, they don't do foolish things recklessly. So, oh hunter, the deer told the man, I hope you will from now on refrain from any killing, that do not kill anymore. Try to change your livelihood. You can maybe, be a domestic farmer, or you can rear chickens, and the chickens lay eggs. You can take the eggs to the market to sell. So many jobs you can do as a gardener, as a farmer, or you can become a carpenter even. So many. Why must you go and do this job of hunting? He was giving a pep talk. And so saying this, right? So what to do? The hunter, he knew that it was quite difficult to trap the hunter already. And then after having given the Dhamma talk, or given the words of wisdom, the wise and careful antelope leap into the dense forest. Dense means very thick. That's the home, right? So he went and ran away back to the home safely. That actually concludes the story. Right? The story. Then someone want to ask, what happened? What happened to the hunter? Did the hunter change the job? All these are just speculative questions. The most important is the story up to this point, right? Where there are so many messages, as we will discuss afterwards, right? Now here I put in the picture of the 5 precepts. Right? I think Buddhists, lay Buddhists are not the monks. The monks have a few hundred precepts. Precepts are the training rules, the moral training rules that a person has to learn in order to live a peaceful, happy life, and to later on to have good rebirths. So you see, of the 5, I have already indicated the one that this story deals with. We should not kill, no killing, right? Of course, you have other of the others, like no stealing, no sexual misconduct, like committing adultery or rape, no lying. Actually, also, you go further, actually, you have 4 things with regard to the speech. No lying, no tale carrying, or malicious, very cruel speech, cause people to quarrel and so on. That type of speech is not good. And then the third one, no harsh speech, using the words that hurt other people. This hunter probably was using the harsh speech, scolded the deer, isn't he? Say, threatened the fella and all those things, cursing the another person, so in this case, the hunter was also breaching this precept of there's a third one, and then the fourth of the right speech is no gossip, no talking of frivolous talk, gossip, spreading rumors, speech that does not benefit anybody. And the fifth one is no intoxicants, that not drinking the alcohol or taking the drugs until you become mabuk or intoxicated, and then you start doing foolish things. These are the important 5 precepts that we lay Buddhists must observe, and the reasons also are written down here. So that is the slide number 11. Now we have to come to the most important slide to learn the lessons, and that is slide number 12. So we have these moral lessons to learn. You can say life lessons, you can say Dharma teachings, they're all related. And what do they aim at? It's not like, geography lessons or, maths lessons. That one is just, to gain knowledge, maybe to help you to get a job and so on. But these are very important lessons that will enable you to live more happily and peacefully, and also to grow in your wisdom, and also to ensure that you don't do the wrong, unwholesome actions like the hunter killing, so that you will not be reborn, right, in suffering states after death, after you die, or after we die. And not only this time also, if you do wrong, like if you are wrong, for example, killing another or stealing and so on, just how you observe, you notice the precepts, you will be caught by the police, or a matter of time you can be found out, even if you escape, but then the next life you cannot escape. So you find there will be a suffering if you break the precept. So that's very important. So now let us look at, I think, three of the moral lessons or life lessons that we want to discuss. And the background actually is actually again showing the antelope and then the hunter. Actually, it's related to the story, but I make it faded so that you can see the words better, right? So that's how this is what we call the, to make it transparent in a way, right? Now let us look at the one. Oh, now it comes out two first, right? Or maybe I can do one at a time, easier. Now, it's written in both English and Malay, but we will discuss the English version only, right, because of time constraint. But for those who do not understand English so well, you find Bahasa Malaysia or Malay easier, then you can later on, you can always look at the video or the PowerPoint presentation and go over the words yourself. Now, the first thing is this, which is the most important thing actually in this teaching. Killing a human being or an animal is a wrongful action. It generates bad karma. That is an important thing. Now here it implies there must be an intention to kill. It's not accidentally you kill. Let's say you accidentally you go and step on some ants, or maybe a person driving through the kampung, very, very careful. But one boy from the kampung runs out into the main road, and you never expect that. Then you drive forward and you kill the boy. Now that is not a bad karmic action because he didn't have the intention to kill, but it will have trouble for you lah. This is cause and effect. Of course, the kampung people might come out and drag you out, and then beat you, because you killed that one. But you didn't intend. It was a boy's fault in a way to run out with you. But then the kampung people thinking that the kid is dead already, so on. That is not the karmic moral wrong, but it is cause and effect. Because you kill somebody, then something happens, but it does not generate the bad karma for you. So you can differentiate between these two. So you must have the intention. You intend to kill the animals. You intend to murder this person. You intend to rob and then kill the person. You intend to do terrible things because the fella has stolen and your money and then you will kill the fella. That is also intention. So actually the principle is very simple, right? If what you do and you know it causes pain and suffering to another living sentient being would imply here a human being or an animal, as far as our world is concerned. But the question asked sometimes is, what about the living things like the plants? Killing the plants, would it be a wrong moral action? No. The plants have consciousness. They are living things, but they do not have something we call the sankara, right? That means one of the factors of a mind, that means the ability to think, the ability to make decision, to decide. That quality is not, the plant cannot go and decide, I want to do this, I want to do that. You can't. You just a sort of awareness only. So that is not considered as a sentient being. So killing a plant is not a bad karmic action, right? So that's why you find some believe that, oh, we must not eat animals, and we must not eat meat because it involve killing the animals. So better be vegetarian. But actually, whether you're vegetarian or not vegetarian, somehow or other, when you live in this samsara world, there will be killing. Those fellows who are vegetarians also will have to get the food which is being supplied by farmers who do a lot of killing also, right? A lot of killing. And whatever you do, like even if you eat vegetarian food, the farmers have to grow the food for you. They use the pesticides to kill the small insects, and then they dig the ground and kill so many of the creatures down. So because you want the vegetables and the fruits, right? So, and then for the people, they eat the meat also, or some animals will be killed. But for Buddhists, in order to avoid this precept of you don't go and these three conditions, you consider that meat that they can be eaten. That is one, that you do not kill any living animal in order to eat, and you do not see, you do not see, you do not see the killing, and yet you go and eat, because then there's a connection, and you do not hear the animals cry, or you don't suspect that the animals are being killed for you, because if you like you go to the restaurant, then you find they have the live crabs or the live fish and so on, that you go and order all this, so they kill for you lah. So sometimes at the back of the kitchen, they might be doing it, and you suspect that, or you hear the cries of the chicken or whatever, then you should not. If you buy the meat, like say the chicken meat or the pork and so on, it's already dead already slaughtered by others to sell. So whether, it's not you who slaughter, because there are other people of other religions don't believe, right? So then you buy those things and eat, that is allowable in Buddhism, not directly killing, or as I told you, the conditions of hearing or seeing or suspecting. So whatever you eat somehow or other. So important thing is not directly intentionally killing. So that is this very important thing. So now let us go on to the next one. Intention killing of another being. And this here you refer to people and animals. Of course, you won't go and argue and say, what about killing the ghost? He can kill the ghost. You're talking about a world where we can see, all right, that you have the other human beings and the animals all around, domestic animals. Some are even killed, like in certain countries, you can kill the dogs to eat the dog meat. And then some will also eat the cat. They drown the cats, they go and cook. So that is considered a wrong, a moral wrong. When you intentionally kill another being, a human being will be the worst, because they can say the highest, a higher living form, right? The bigger the animal, the higher the living form, the greater the karma. For example, you kill a dog, the karma is heavier compared to killing an ant, or compared to killing a termite, which you sometimes need to kill the termites, or the termites might cause your house to fall. So these small creatures that you kill have the bad karma, but the karma is very much less compared to killing a human being, or killing a bigger animal, like a cow. You go and slaughter, you can hear the cow crying, that sort of thing. So intentional killing of another being creates the bad karma, what we call akusala karma, bad karma. Karma is actually intentional action. So you do a wrong intentional action like killing or stealing, and stuff. We saw the precepts. So this generates bad karma. So there will be what we call the vipaka, the result of your wrongdoing. And this result is actually dukkha, that the dukkha will come. And this dukkha comes present life as well as future life. Now, present life, for example, you find that later on, the fella has killed for so many years already, then the fella may have sickness also, or may feel very guilty already after killing pigs for 10, 15 years already, right? Until nearing death at time, then you find, wow, the mind very troubled, guilty conscience, could see the ghost of the pigs, or at night couldn't sleep. So you suffer this life because you have done a lot of killing. And then in future life, of course, you can be reborn, likely to be reborn into woeful stage. You just didn't kill once, you kill for 10 years, 15 years. So that is a very important thing you have to bear in mind. I've seen, when I was young, I've seen some children, they like to go and catch all those small insects like butterflies, or, the fighting spiders. They want to see the spiders fight. And some will just hurt the animals, like pulling out the legs and the wings of the butterfly. That is also terrible. And then they might die. If they don't die, you are torturing, causing pain. That also generate bad karma. Right? And then you will have his vipaka, his consequence. Later on in life, you will suffer. Like some people might get serious sicknesses. Of course, not all due to karma, but it could be. But then in the future lives, you find some are born chat or born with great suffering, and then always having sicknesses and pain and so on. Another person born very healthy, why? This one has something to do with karma. That person in the previous life might have been torturing so many animals and human beings also. There are some that torture human beings until a terrible state. Then if you have torturing or killing, you will generate this bad karma that can cause you to suffer, not only in this life but in future lives. I have no time to tell you of all the evidences that this is a very, very important teaching, and there is evidence to support this teaching. In fact, all religions also talk about that, right? Like, do not kill. But other religions just talk about human beings, like in Christianity and in Islam. Of course, you have the do not kill others, but they allow the killing of animals because they have their beliefs. So for Buddhists, the killing involves both animals and human beings also. And I think you would have also heard of cases where, killing an animal, wow, you find it so very terrible. You can just hear the cries of the animals being slaughtered. Now we come to the last moral lesson, which is very, very important. We must train the mind to be alert, mindful, and heedful. Develop wisdom to live safely and peacefully. And this story actually tells us also another very important lesson. And that involves the good character of the story, that is the antelope, or you can say the deer. He was smart. He will be very careful, which is a good thing. He will be mindful, to be aware of what is happening around the surroundings. He very, very cautious. He's not reckless or foolish, right? Or greedy. So we human beings, same thing. That we must always train the mind. There are methods like listening to the Dhamma, learning the Dhamma, discussing, asking questions, taking Dhamma lessons from Sunday school and so on. So the mind, and then meditation. Ah. So of course there are methods in the Dhamma where they teach you how to develop the mind. So your mind will be always alert, not like dull, sleepy, not knowing. There are people like that, and then they get into trouble, they get into accidents, and be mindful that you know what is happening to your mind. Very bad thoughts coming already, must be mindful, You don't entertain them. You go and follow them and ask you to go and take somebody's wife and so on, all those stuff. Cannot. So being mindful to know what is happening and to know what is happening to the body. Your body now telling you already that you lack sleep and you are tired. You better have rest and enough sleep. Otherwise, you will face the result of getting sick and so on. So you must know, be mindful of what is happening to your mind as well as to the body, right? And one of the very important things, in fact, you can say the most important is to develop wisdom. Wisdom is not being very, to be clever in getting all the A's. Wisdom is knowing what you should do, what actually is the truth, what is the real state of things, and what are the laws that govern us, the natural laws. Just like you have a natural law of gravity, you know that thing. You won't jump down from a building and say, I can fly like a Superman. Because the law of gravity, you drop down and then hit on the floor or the ground and you can die. And likewise, also, you have other laws like karma laws. Do good and you reap the good later on. Do bad and it begets bad. Bad things can happen to you. There is a problem, you reap what you sow, right? What goes around comes around. I've given many presentations on this, of karma law. This is also a law, right? So we can learn about all these things, so the mind becomes wise. You know what to do, what not to do. What are the good things we should do for peace, happiness, and then what are the things which are dangerous that we should avoid, otherwise we will suffer. So this is the developing wisdom. And today many people don't have enough wisdom and do foolish things like ramping rider, causing danger to others. So there's no lack of wisdom, not having the wisdom. And there are people who cheat and scam, not so much of all those cheating and so on, lacking in wisdom, but overwhelmed by greed, right? So because of the lacking in wisdom, that is a dangerous thing to do, because he was generating bad karma. He doesn't have the wisdom. He doesn't believe in it. So you will face with the dukkha. So I have spoken more than 1 hour already. So I hope you have learned very important life lessons or Dharma teachings from this story of the wise antelope and the hunter. So I have this final thing. May you be well and peaceful. So important thing, two important messages: know Dharma. When you know Dharma, you practice it, understand, then you are heading the right direction. You will develop wisdom. And then one more very good thing that you do that will have good karmic results, that is to make Dharma known, to teach Dharma or to share Dharma with other people, just as if you were to share this presentation for other people who can benefit. So before we say sadhu 3 times, I would like to take this opportunity, right, to thank all you boys and girls, students of Buddhist Sunday School, Dharma classes, and also all the parents and grandparents and the teachers who are following, to all those who are following. So I thank you and say sadhu, because all of you have taken the time and putting in the effort to follow not a action movie, but a Dharma presentation, so that you can grow in your compassion and wisdom, and you can live more happily and peacefully and wisely. So now let us fold our palms together, and then we say sadhu 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And to all of you who have been following the presentation, I say sadhu and thank you. May you all be well, happy, peaceful, and may you always live following the Dharma. Thank you, sadhu. Take care.